lounging, son.
All right, welcome back to the Comic Lounge. My name is Ryan, and today I'm going to be talking about a book that came out this week that I absolutely loved. The Hunger and the Dusk by Willow Wilson and Chris Wildgoose. You know, it's an IDW original, which IDW has been putting out a bunch of great original content as of the past, couple years, I think. It kicked off with Scott Snyder's Wildfire with Hayden Sherman as well, which is another fantastic book. I definitely want to talk about that on the channel. But anyways, I wanted to kind of spotlight this book, talk about it real quick, because I've talked about this on the channel. There's not a fantasy really in comic books. So to get another fantasy book, especially written by Willow Wilson, who's, in my opinion, one of the best writers in comics. And I just recently found out the G stands for Gwendolyn. So, I mean, who more perfect to write this book? And then Chris Wildgoose, that's just an awesome fucking last name. But that's besides the point. I just really wanted to spotlight this book because I think it's phenomenal. First of all, the paper stock. I know that's, kind of nerding out a little bit. So the humans and the orcs have long been at odds. And there is a enemy that is going to bring them together, because that enemy is something that they can't defeat by themselves. So what are they going to do? They're going to join forces. So our lead characters are Cal and Tara, and those are the ones that will be the main focus of the book. But we get a little bit of the backstory. The Vangal is who they end up fighting, but this is, we're in the Vanishing Lands, and just, building out the story a little bit, and we see these orcs come upon this village. And just even painting the orcs, at first glance, you're going to think they're evil, but you even see this, do they think their mothers, or do you think their mothers tell them stories about us at night? That we build our winter halls from the bones of human children and bathe in blood? They don't necessarily, at least from the way you can perceive it, is they don't really look at us humans as we probably think they look at us, right? So, again, just a little bit of world building, but then this is when we get the action, dude. I love this. Fucking orc's head just getting lopped off, cut right at the jawline. But we have no idea who did it. It's not the humans. Again, we're getting a little bit more into it, and then again, we see these shadows overlooking them after they throw this cow, bull type looking animal's head right at their feet, and the village is burned, and we see this little boy just walking off alone, only survivor. 6 months later, this is where we meet Cal, and they're on their way to meet the orcs. This is where their truce is gonna take place. A lot of great characterization. This is something that G. Willow does so well. I love all of the stuff that she's done. I mean, probably one of the things she's most known for would probably be Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel, but she's also doing a great Poison Ivy story over at DC Comics. I believe it was so good that it got extended past the initial miniseries, and it's now an ongoing. But this is what she's called. This is her magnum opus. This is the story she's always wanted to tell, and now we as readers are gonna reap the benefits of that. So, we're getting the contrast, we're talking, Cal's talking about the orcs talking about them, and, why would they want us? We're just some small, village, or some small group. We're nobody. We don't have money or anything like that. But because in a previous battle, he had stood up to the orcs. And they're they think highly of valor, and Cal's is that valor or stupidity? It's interesting to see this, this contrast, because neither, at one point or another, they both can look at each other like villain, like the adversaries. But in this instance, they're going to fight, they're going to join together to fight for a greater cause, right? And neither one of them seems very malicious, even as they're going. And I love this meeting, Cal's just sitting here being, contemplative, and then the orc comes from behind, he swings the sword. And just the energy and the motion that Chris does on this art is just, it's next level, dude. This is such a gorgeous book. And we get this, this is where they're going to have the truce. He's I'm honored you chose us, but the last men aren't wealthy. and we live outside in the dirt most nights. It's not an easy life. And he said, but she's a better healer. Tara, who's a healer, is better than anybody. And I wouldn't trust anyone more with her safety. So like there's a mutual respect, even though for centuries, and I would imagine centuries, that like they were adversaries. And I like, Cal even says it kind of reminds him of a wedding. She's obviously not amused. As you'll see in some of the variant covers too, like it kind of hints at maybe there's, going to be something going on with Cal and Tara. I'm not sure. There's a little bit of hint of it, but you can start to see the, respect grow. Because during this battle, again, look at this. It's insane, dude. And I love the sound effects, like just to kind of like amplify the tension as you're reading it. And Tara's about to get taken out, and he takes the sword straight to his back to protect her. This is another thing I really love. I love the depiction of when she's using her healing powers, this like bright purple, like this swirling effect is really cool. And she heals him after he saves her life, and he takes the shield and right to the jaw of this creature. And this is where it's going to begin, right? This is like the relationship between Cal and Tara. We're getting to see it, that maybe there's something more here. There's a respect, and he's like, okay, are we going to be friends then? She's like, oh, can I think about it? And he just laughs. And she's like, all right. He's like, come on, let's go meet the last men, which is the group that he's a part of. And, she looks back at her cousin Thoth and, like she's now going to be in a new land with the new people that she's not accustomed to, that she's grown up thinking were her enemy this whole time. Just the narration to end it, they came out of the dusk. They came with their terrible hunger to swallow the vanishing lands, and we could never have imagined what lay in store for us. And it just amps you up as a reader for what's coming next. What can we expect? I'll tell you what you can expect. An awesome series. So this is going to be I think it's going to start as 12 issues. We're going to have 6 issues of this first arc. Look at the covers. The covers, I love the design of this and how, like you can look here, it's going to have like that same kind of format. And then, not to mention, you got Cliff Chang doing the B covers for all of them. I just absolutely love his stuff too. And this is the cover I was referring to, and like where you can see that maybe there's going to be something more. This En-Hyuk Lee cover. And then, of course, you got some of the variants. And some more awesome IDW stuff. This is, I mentioned the Scott Snyder book at the beginning, the Wildfire book. Is part of the Dark Spaces line. So this is another story in that called Good Deeds. This is definitely something I'll be covering on the channel. Probably wait till the whole arc's done and talk about it. But first 2 issues are out. Amazing as well. And another dope book that I got a chance to flip through, Arca. That's another one I kind of want to talk about. Maybe get the creators on for an interview. But like I said, Hunger and the Dusk, G. Willow Wilson, Chris Wildgoose. Phenomenal issue. This is how you do a first issue. This is what you do to get your readers amped, especially because like there's so many comic books coming out. It's hard to decide like where do you spend your money. Well, let me help you tell you. Let me help you with that. Go spend your money on this. You will not be disappointed. Writing top notch, art top notch, everything about this. It's got the full package. And go pick it up. Hit your local comic shop up for it. And while you're at it, follow us on social media. All the links are down below. Hit the subscribe button so you're notified every time a new vid goes up. And on that note, I'm out.